Jeb Bush recently did a shout out to Donald Trump saying, Republicans should be bold, not divisive. Oh, Jeb. Oh, folks, I'll explain why Jeb is off his rocker on this one. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance. Jeb.
Those who forsake the law praise the wicked. Those who uphold the law resist them. Welcome to the Voice of Resistance. Here's your host, Randall Terry.
That's right, folks. Jeb Bush shouted out to Donald Trump that we must, as Republicans, be bold, but not divisive. And so, here are the top 10 examples of Jeb Bush being bold, but not divisive. Number 10, boldly being the first in his family to run for No, wait, my bad. Number 9, boldly announcing his bid for El Presidente en Español. Number 8, boldly asking billionaires for their bucks and promising them we don't know what. Number 7, boldly saying that the Iraq war was maybe not so good, but in retrospect, we didn't know then what we know now, and it was boldness. Number 6, boldly going against the flow that one time when my bad. That was another guy. Number 5, boldly following the lead of Subway Jared and losing some serious weight. Number 4, boldly saying that illegal immigrants coming here is an act of love. Number 3, boldly endorsing a baby-killing Florida state senator, even while Jeb Bush said that he was pro-life, a state senator who actually wrote the law in Florida to kill old people. Number 2, I'm sorry, people. I literally can't think of any more. We spent so much time trying to work on this and find 10 things. No, wait. Number 1, the boldness of Jeb Bush is displayed by his caving into a 2-bit Florida judge and letting Terry Schiavo starve to death in the light of day. That's an act of boldness. That's the kind of man I want for my president. All right, having gotten that out of my system, I want to just say when America is being overrun at our southern border, we do need someone bold to lead us. Does anyone really think that Jeb Bush is that man? When ISIS is brutally expanding its borders, murdering Christians by the thousands, does anyone think that Jeb Bush really has the boldness to be the man that crushes them? When the Supreme Court is violating God's law and the Constitution, and Jeb Bush doesn't have the spine to just stand up and say this was a horrendous decision? Does anyone think that he has the boldness that we need to be our president? Really? I don't think so. And I hope that you don't either. But what I would like to do for just a moment is examine the folly of his statement. You tell me, someone in history who has been bold but not divisive. Think about it. George Washington was bold, but he was hated by the Loyalists. There were people in Boston who stayed in Boston because they wanted to be in Boston to be with the British soldiers. They hated what Washington was doing. Washington was bold, but he was very divisive. How about Thomas Jefferson? Jefferson was bold. He wrote the Declaration of Independence. His house it was ransacked. His $50,000 wine collection was destroyed by British soldiers. He was incredibly divisive, as well as being bold. Patrick Henry, the voice of the American Revolution, give me liberty or give me death. That speech was incredibly bold and incredibly divisive. These are part of the very fiber of our American, of our portrait, our tapestry of American heroes. bold and divisive. Abraham Lincoln, bold. America, a house divided cannot stand. Bold, saying, no, we will not let you leave the Union so that you can have slaves. Bold, finally releasing the Emancipation Proclamation. That was bold a little bit late. That was boldness on the installment plan. But he goes down in history as a bold and divisive president. The reason that Jeb Bush is so afraid of being divisive is because he's so afraid of being bold.
You have two choices. I mean, you can try to raise your children by design, or you will raise them by default. There are no perfect parents. We're going to get it wrong sometimes. If we have a plan, we've got a better chance of getting it right in the long run.
There is something deep within the heart of every human being that longs for parental acceptance and approval. When does a boy become a man?
Get a group of guys around and ask them that question.
I don't think there's a certain age. Some men stay boys their whole life.
I would say, 16, 18 years old.
Wow, that's a good question.
When they get bar mitzvah.
Well, I think when he has a child. So I just became at 56, 56 years old.
Without the power of the Holy Spirit changing us and giving us power over our sin, we can't hope to be the dads that our kids need us to be.
Usually, people who are accused of being divisive are actually decisive. We don't need a massive committee to study the Mexican border again and again and again. We need someone who is decisive. And the reason that Jeb Bush is so angry at Donald Trump is because Donald Trump is saying, look, I'm going to become president. If I become president, I'm going to build a wall. And I'm going to charge the Mexican government to pay for it. See, that's decisive. Yes, it's bold. Maybe some of it is a little bit of hyperbole, but it resonates with people. Watch me. Look at me closely. Do I look bold to you right now? Have you ever seen a bold thinking person? He thought boldly. He pondered with great boldness. You know the thinker? No. Boldness is almost always accompanied by what? Action. Okay? I lived in Florida when Jeb Bush was governor. I saw him bend like a broken reed before a two-bit little judge when his brother, the president, flew in from Florida to sign a bill to save Terry Schiavo's life, when one opportunity after another was given to him, and he had the ambulances around the corner from her hospice, literally idling there. All he had to do was give the order, go pick her up. Didn't have the guts to do it. Didn't have the boldness. Didn't want to be divisive. Let me tell you something, friends. I don't like this any more than you do, but I'm going to say it because you and I need to not only grasp it, but first, once we grasp it, we have to be willing to say it. We are a divided people. Period. We have people who want to murder babies, and we have people that want to save them and have babies have the full protection of law. There is no common ground. All right? We are divided. And anyone who tells you that there is common ground between those two camps is like trying to tell you that there's common ground between the Nazis and the Jews. It's absurd. Okay? This is somebody who's in a la-la land, in a fairy tale, on the good ship Lollipop, and they need heavy medication, psychotropic medication. I don't mean to be that unkind, but it's that disturbing to me. We have to recognize that we're a divided people. We are divided economically. We have people that say, look, I don't want anything from the government. I don't want anything from the government. I just want to live. I want to be free. I want to give to my charities the way I see fit. And then you have people who say, no, I don't work and you owe me money. You're going to work with the sweat of your brow, and not just for yourself, but for me. I have a right to your money. I have a right to your money to pay for my kids' education. I have a right to your money to pay for my kids' doctor bills. I have a right to your money to pay for my doctor bills. That's a divided country. So when Romney made his comment about 47% of the people living off of the government, whatever the comment was in the percentage, he was right. He was right. And what did he do? Rather than own it and run right at it, he tried to backpedal. And while the liberal, socialist, communist-leaning press were flogging him, we didn't have people to stand behind him and say, he's absolutely right. We're a divided people. You have people who are working and paying the freight, and you have people who either aren't working and are getting the freight, or they're working some, but because our system is so screwed up, they have to go and beg at the knee at Uncle Sam. Military people on food stamps? God forgive us. God rebuke our politicians with their vile waste. We are a divided people. We have people that recognize that Islam is a fundamental threat to human freedom. And people who think, oh, it's a religion of peace. This is great. We are a divided people. We have people that believe that there should be racial quotas based upon the color of skin, not on performance, not on intelligence, not on ability. We are a divided people. We have people who actually believe that the covenant, the sacrament of marriage, ordained by God Himself, created by the Almighty Creator of the universe, that sacrament could be degenerated to the level of a perversion between two people of the same gender. We are a divided people. We have to see it, and then we have to have the boldness to say it. The emperor is naked, and if that divides us, so be it. He's flabby, he's ugly, and he's an embarrassment. Do you want to get America out of the hands of wicked and unjust men and women who are destroying the republic before our eyes, and put leadership back into the hands of righteous men and women so that we don't die as a nation? Well, you're talking about social revolution, and there are rules in social revolution. We can look at the victorious social revolutions of the past, such as the end of slavery, the end of child labor, women's voting rights, the end of segregation, and so much more, and learn from their victories. Look at their actions, their images, their rhetoric, their sacrifices, and their final fruit. We will send you this series that originally cost $129, 7 books for students, 1 teacher's guide, if you'll give a gift of any size and just pay for shipping and handling. Take advantage of it today. Well, I want to change speeds just for a minute so that I don't blow a gasket. My dear wife is talking with some of her friends in a little chat situation in cyberspace or somewhere on their godless devices. And the discussion came up as to whether or not Lila Rose and the people who continually expose Planned Parenthood by getting in there and pretending to be someone who they're not, whether those people are sinning. I'm not making this up, all right? Some really good people are thinking that, well, you're lying to them. That's not right. Now, the latest debacle is that Planned Parenthood has been found out to be illegally harvesting and selling human body parts. Aborted babies, dismembered, and their bodies being sold on the black market, okay? If this is not from hell, I don't know what is. But don't worry, Jeb Bush is bold enough to ignore it, because he doesn't want to divide people by talking about how evil Planned Parenthood is and how racist they are. But I digress. So they're having this discussion about whether or not it's a sin for Lila Rose and others who have done such a brilliant job exposing Planned Parenthood. So we were talking this morning, and I said, well, why don't you just quote Augustine and Aquinas? I mean, both of them said that deceit in war is ethical. Okay, it's part of righteous stratagem to deceive the enemy on any number of levels. The number of troops that you have, where you're going to attack from, or where your armaments are or aren't. And we have been a part of the just war philosophy as a nation since our inception, okay? And make no mistake about it, the authorities are at war against the unborn. Make no mistake, the Supreme Court, the majority of the Supreme Court, and the godless people that run so much of our nation's infrastructure and our establishment and the political and the judicial realm, they are at war with babies, okay? And those who aren't are committing the same devilish act that so many people have throughout history by saying, quote, I'm just following orders. Maybe I'm personally opposed to killing those babies at Bethlehem, but I'm just doing what Herod told me to do. I've got to follow orders. So anyway, we've got these people in power that are at war with the unborn, killing them by the millions. And in war, it is ethical to use deceit to save someone's life. And that's what these people are after. Norman Geisler, if any of you can remember that name, he used to be on staff at a major Christian college, who I won't name because I love the people. Thank God he's no longer there. But I actually debated him once, an impromptu debate. He wanted to take me on in front of people, in front of a camera. And Norman Geisler, all right, this is an evangelical so-called thinker. He said, and I'm not making up a syllable of this, he said that Corrie ten Boom and the people in the Dutch underground who hid the Jews from the Nazis were sinning. They were sinning when they deceived the Nazis, but worse than that, even if they didn't deceive the Nazis, they were still sinning because it was against the law. I'm not making this up. I turned to the people and I said, you all better hope that you are never hiding in his house when someone's coming to kill you, because he will give you up. With that kind of thinking going on, it's no wonder that we're in the mess that we are in. Think about it. If you have to deceive someone to save another person's life, you are not sinning. Well, where's that in the Bible? Rahab the harlot, she was involved in deceiving people as to whether or not the spies were there with her. Well, that's the Old Testament. Well, the 3 Hebrew midwives who were ordered by Pharaoh to kill the newborn Jews, they said to Pharaoh, the Jewish women are really strong and vivacious, and they deliver the baby before we even get there, and then they hide the kid, and we wanted to get the kid and throw it in the river like you said, but we just couldn't do it. They lied, okay? But the book of Hebrews chapter 11 records their action, which was inherently deceitful, records their actions as an act of faith. Same with Rahab the harlot. They're both there as heroes of the faith. They had the guts to put their own lives at risk, to defend the innocent, and to tell a falsehood to somebody who had no right to know the truth. If someone wants to use the truth to find out where an innocent person is to kill them, they don't have a right to that knowledge. And it is your right, and I would argue your duty, to not give them that knowledge and to protect the innocent. I have been a leader in the pro-life movement for 30 years, and sadly we have not prevailed in our goal to make it a criminal act to kill an unborn baby. There's reasons why we have failed. I wrote this book, A Humble Plea, to Catholic bishops, to evangelical clergy, and to lay people, explaining where we went wrong and what we have to do to prevail. We've made this available as a PDF online for free. I encourage you to go and download your own copy. Why does a nice guy like me keep getting thrown in jail? I have been arrested almost 50 times and spent over a year of my life locked up in various prison facilities. And I wrote a book many books. In fact, one of them is called Why Does a Nice Guy Like Me Keep Getting Thrown in Jail? It's a theological work, answering those who say that the church should not be involved in politics or that we should retreat. I encourage you to get it. In fact, get one and give it to your pastor. God knows the secrets of men's hearts. He knows what motivates people in the decisions that they make. We don't. Sometimes we can figure it out, maybe, but sometimes we just don't know. And I, for the life of me, cannot figure out what has motivated Obama to sign this deal with Iran. I cannot figure out for the life of me what would motivate a man like John Kerry or any of the other lemmings that are in this administration or that are in the Pentagon to go along with such a deal. A deal that, by everything that I am hearing and reading, is going to pave the way for Iran to have nuclear weapons. Now, I was riding with one of my sons the other day, I think a 12-year-old. He said, Dad, if they won't let someone come and inspect their facilities, well, that means they're hiding something. And if they want 24 days before they let them come in, well, that just means they want time to move things around and hide it, doesn't it? The wisdom of a 12-year-old. A kid can see through it. No, Mom, you can't come in my room yet, Mom. No, Mom. No, I need some more time, Mom. Yes, the room is clean. It's clean, Mom. Really, I know you told me to clean it. My room is clean, but I just need a little bit more time before you come in. I want to surprise you with something, Mom, okay? You can see through that. So why President Obama has done this, I don't know. And I would like to guess. I don't know if it would help. Maybe it's demonic. Maybe it's divine. Maybe the Almighty has given him a spirit of treachery and folly to bring judgment in the earth. I mean, it's possible. It's possible that God could use the Iranians with a nuclear weapon at some point to bring judgment on Western nations, on America, because of the blood, because of the evil, because of the wickedness. I mean, think about that. Think of the irony of that. These people are a threat to human freedom. The Iranian government is a threat to human freedom. There are people in jail right now being tortured for believing in Jesus Christ. Okay, do you understand this? They are a threat to human freedom. But guess what they don't have? They don't have baby killing in their country. And they don't have same-gender marriage in their country. And they think it's appalling that we do. And they would actually believe, this is what's crazy, they would believe that they were doing God a service to punish us for these crimes that we're committing. And could it be, God, please have mercy on us, could it be that God would use them to chasten us? I mean, he used the Babylonians to chasten the Jews. And remember, God said, I'm sending the Babylonians. It was the judgment of God against his own people, the judgment of God against his own temple. The temple had become so vile and so perverse with what was going on inside of it, with idolatry, the shedding of innocent blood was all around, and these homosexual prostitution booths. God said, I'm going to wipe it out. And he did. And he said, I'm going to use the Babylonians. And then the Babylonian king was so corrupt, the one that God used, he threw Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fire. He had everyone bow down to this idol. He said, I'm God, remember? And then that's why he threw them in. They said, we're not going to bow down. So the very one that God used to bring judgment was so corrupt that God ended up judging him and turning him into like a dumb animal where he lived out in the field for 7 years. So my only point is that there is precedent in history for God using people like the Babylonians that are vile and corrupt and worshiping a false religion or involved in a false religion to punish those who have the true religion. It's not without reason that it's, at least not without possibility, that God may use the idiocy of Obama to arm the Iranians with nuclear weapons that will someday be used to punish people for their sins. I don't want it to be the fact. I hope that it's not true. And I hope that somebody in Washington and in Israel gets a clue and goes in and destroys every single facility where they can make a nuclear bomb. Destroys them all. Because I believe that American policy should be that no Muslim country anywhere on the planet will ever be allowed to obtain or to have a nuclear device. The end. Because if they've got it, they'll use it.
Mm-hmm.